Host Tiffany Marie Brannon, along with the Federalist elections correspondent Brianna Lyman. Thank you both for coming on tonight. So, Tiffany, to you first, the Dodgers, right? Since we're in L.A., we might as well cover the Dodgers, even though you're wearing red. It's totally fine.
I'm a Yankees fan.
Okay, Yankees. We'll cover the Yankees later. How about the Dodgers right now? So the Dodgers statement is the following. This morning, ICE agents came to Dodger Stadium and requested permission to access the parking lots. They were denied entry to the grounds by the organization. Tonight's game will be played as scheduled. Then you have DHS. Homeland Security says the following. This had nothing to do with the Dodgers. CBP vehicles, not ICE, CBP, Customs Border Protection vehicles were in the stadium parking lot very briefly, unrelated to any operation or enforcement. And then, of course, the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who just lost a big ruling, by the way, had to weigh in saying, quote, oh, it was the other unmarked, unidentifiable officers snatching moms and children off the street. So one of these people or all of these people are lying, and I'm not really sure why.
Oh, what a surprise. Gavin Newsom and the Democrats lying about immigration. Shocker. They also said that people weren't coming over the border for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
But the reality is that they refuse to discriminate against these law enforcement agencies that are enacting the will of the American people in immigration and deportation, because it's easier to lump them all together. And actually, you look at the fact that 413% increase in assaults against ICE officers is what's going on the last year. You see what happened in the riots last weekend?
Yep.
There is real danger for these people that are doing the job in the will of the American people.
But the LA Times would always frame it as, you know, they're shooting bullets. The police are shooting bullets into the crowd. They forget about the fact that the crowd was throwing glass and rocks at the police. Meantime, speaking of the media, Brianna, I'm taking you back to common sense now. In 2023, the New York Times wrote the following headline: Israeli strike kills hundreds in hospital. Palestinians say. Today, the headline is, Israel says Iranian missile strikes major hospital. They will not give Israel the benefit of the doubt, period, Brianna.
They won't give Israel the benefit of the doubt, but they have no problem repeating Hamas propaganda as if it is factual and truthful, that there's no reason to question it. And unfortunately for Israel, they carry out these strikes, whether it's against Iran or Hamas, with precision. These are strategic strikes. They always try to minimize civilian casualties. Where on the other hand, you have Iran, for example. They are just bombarding Israel with rockets indiscriminately, targeting a hospital where there are innocent civilians. That is the difference between Israel, who is trying to eliminate terrorists from the face of this earth, versus Iran and Hamas, who is only their only concern is bloodshed. They want as much bloodshed as possible, but the propaganda press doesn't care because they are there to peddle this narrative that is anti-West and anti-Israel.
Jen Psaki, MSNBC, got busted not telling the truth. Watch.
As you may know, the Trump administration has been arresting immigrants when they show up at federal courthouses for their own immigration hearings. That's become a tactic of theirs. It's a completely dirty fear-mongering tactic they use to try to run up their deportation numbers.
People were watching, including newsbusters who pointed out that they were arrested when their cases were dismissed, Tiffany.
Exactly. You know, a very important but tiny point in
things.
Jen Psaki, liar, liar, pants on fire. I think we have to look at the fact that she lied to the American people for 4 years about President Biden's cognitive decline. So why would she tell us the truth now? But the reality is that if anybody had committed a crime and you or I decided to lock arms with them and refuse to allow them to be arrested with people who had a warrant, we would probably, have the same exact thing happen to us.
Okay, I got to go, Brianna, but I have to play this. Dave Portnoy said this about trust in media, which we're kind of talking about here. Watch.
It is obviously big-time distrust of legacy media, and there's so many different ways to consume media, whether that's online, podcasts, some of it good, some of it bad, to be honest. You just have to be really careful where you're getting your information from. There's so many different people speaking now, and people can access it so many different ways.
I mean, 20 seconds, Brianna, but nobody's watching, and yet they're continuing to lie to us.
You know, a Gallup poll in February found that 36% of Americans have no trust at all in the media to report fully, fairly, and accurately. And this is a self-inflicted wound to the media's credibility because they have spent decades, really the past decade, spreading these sensational hoaxes against Republicans. It was the Russia collusion hoax, the Brett Kavanaugh rape hoax. It was Hunter Biden's laptop. So they shot themselves in the foot, and they are not trying to rectify it in any manner. They're only doubling down. CNN just recently was found liable for defaming a Navy veteran. So until they correct course, they're going to continue to lose trust.
Brianna, Tiffany, thank you both. Coming up, 5